Okay, let's do. So in this 17 features, first we are going to look into sealed classes. Of course, the sealed classes are sealed interfaces. We have both of them. Sealed classes are sealed interfaces. So first, we are going to understand about how we can write the sealed class or sealed interface, and that's the first point I'm going to talk about. Okay, let's see. So first, I'll try to open the IDE, and in this, we are going to look into source code. So here I'm going to talk. I'm going to explain as well. First, we are going to look into the concept called as sealed classes. Sealed classes or sealed interfaces, whatever. We are going to look into both sealed class and sealed interfaces. Now, basically, sealed classes tells that it could be the classes or interfaces, whatever. But this is sealed classes tells that at the time of creating a class, we can specify what are all the permitted classes to create as a child classes. We can define the set of child classes that can extend this parent class. The sealed class will allow us to specify which child classes can be created from this parent class. And that is the information can be provided with the sealed keyword. And that concept is called sealed classes. Normally, for example, you have a class. Let's say, first let me create a project. First, let me create a project. I'll create it. Yes. Just I'm creating simple Java project. Okay, I'm just creating one sealed project, and then I'm just going to click on next and finish, or directly I can click on finish, whatever. Okay. So if it is not look, visible to you good, so I can able to change the font size as well for it, so that you can see this. So now it's looking good. So the point is now, what is our requirement is we want to know about how we can use the concept called as sealed classes or sealed interfaces. That's the first one feature that we want to start, and we want to complete that. See, thing is now, assume that assumption. I'm creating, when I'm creating a class, I'm creating a new class. Let's say, for example, I'm calling it as a parent class. I'm creating a parent class. My class name is parent class. And for which I want to create some child classes. Let's say, for example, I'm creating child class 1. I'm also creating child class 2. So I would like to create some child classes for the parent class. I want to create some child classes for the parent class. Okay, let's see. This is a parent class for which I want to create some child classes. Child class 1 extends parent class. This is child class 1 which extends parent class. I also want to create, let's say, one more child class here, child class 2. And this class also extends parent class. So there is a parent class, and parent class can have its own variables, methods, constructors. I can able to define all of them. In the parent class, I can write my own variables, methods, constructors, everything. In child class 1 also I can write, or even I can override the parent class methods. Otherwise, I can define a new attributes and new methods. Similarly, in child class 2 as well. Now, my requirement is I want to allow only child class 1 and child class 2 as permitted to create as a child classes for the parent class. Okay, which means what? At the time of creating a class, suppose if I want to restrict that, who can be the child classes for this class? Okay, and if you want to restrict or if you want to specify which classes to be the child classes for the parent, you can define that parent class as a sealed class, and you can give the permission to the child classes that these child classes can inherit this parent class. So at the time of writing the parent class, I just want to write, okay, I just want to write sealed class, parent class. And whenever I use a keyword sealed, I must also use another keyword called permits. Permits child class 1, comma child class 2. Okay. Now you can see here, I'm making this class as a sealed class. If I make any class as a sealed class, I also must use another keyword called permits. When I use a sealed, I must also use permits. And permits is to specify the list of child classes of the parent. So I can specify which classes I want to allow them as a child classes for the parent class by making it as a sealed. Suppose if I'm trying to create another child class for this parent class, that child class will get error. Because this parent class is permitting that only who can be the child class 1 and child class 2, only the parents, only the childs of this parent. If you try to create one more child class for this parent, which is not there in the permission list, then that child class will get a compile time error. Second, okay, if any child class is extending a sealed class, okay, if any child class is extending a sealed class, that a child class can be specified again as a seal, or can be non-sealed, or can be final. So first I'm going to explain. I'm getting error here. You can see that at line 3, I got an error because if any child class is extending a parent class, if it is a sealed class, then that child class must be declared as either non-sealed or can be sealed or can be final. We will identify the difference between them, but right now I'm writing final. Now you can see that the error is removed from child class 1, right? I'll go to child class 2. I'll make it as final. Okay. Now first my requirement is I want to explain about what happens if I create a child class 3 by extending parent class. Because child class 3 is not added in the permission list. Child class 3 is not added in the permissions list. Okay, if that is not in the permitted set of classes, then that class will get a compile time error if it is extending the parent class. Let's consider one new class I'm creating. It is what? Child class 3. Child class 3 extends which class again? Parent class. Extends which class again? Parent class. Class name is child class 3. Okay. Class extending a sealed superclass should be a sealed or final or non-sealed class. You are getting the message here? Okay. I want to, for example, make it as final. I want to make it as final. It is not allowing me to make it as final. Okay. Here I have a final. Okay. Modifiers, in the modifiers, it is all these are disabled. But of course, here I can see radio button. What is the radio button? Final. Public final class, child class 3, extends which class? Parent class. Okay. In the parent class sealed list, in the parent class sealed list, I'm removing what? Child class 3. Tell me now, in the parent class permissions list, only who are the classes available? Child class 1 and child class 2. But child class 3 is not available. That's why child class 3 is getting an error. Child class 3 cannot extend parent class as it is not a permitted subtype of parent class. So whenever we are creating a parent class, we can permit the subtypes by using which keyword? Permits. And if you want to permit the subtypes by using permits, first of all, you should make your parent class as what? Sealed class. If it is a sealed class, then only it can, okay, then only it can give permission that what could be the child class and what should not be the child class. It can define its permitted subtypes if it is a sealed class, first of all. And remaining all common. It can have constructor, it can have fields, it can have methods. You can override them in child class. All the remaining Java programming features are available here. All the polymorphism features, inheritance features, these are available, right? Good. Observe here. So one reason why we are getting child class 3 is an error. We are getting child class 3 error because it is not there in the permitted subtypes of parent class. That's why we are getting error. So now I'm closing the child class 3. Let's remove the child class 3. Let's remove the child class 3. Okay, understand clearly. This is a parent class. In parent class, I can have variables like, I'm taking variable called P1 and P2. I can declare private int P1, private int P2. I can define a constructor. Remaining everything is common. Suppose you want to define a parameterized constructor. How can you define the parameterized constructor? Right click, you can go to the source and generate constructor using fields. Right? And if you want, you can define a method here. That method we can override in the child classes. These are all possible. These are all possible. Let's say, for example, public void parent method. Just right. It's a parent class method. Okay, this is something. I mean, what I'm trying to explain here, you can also write your own variables. The fields we can call them are attributes, or data members, or instance variables you can write, static variables you can write, constructor you can define, whatever you want you can do. Just like a normal class only. Because of sealed, don't feel that I cannot write the static variables, or I cannot define the static methods, or I can't define the static blocks, or I cannot create the final variables. Okay. All okay, whatever the Java, a normal Java class can have, all those things we can define even in a child class as well. Now this is child class. Okay, this is parent class. Parent class has two child classes. What are the two child classes? Child class 1 and child class 2. Child class 2. Now I'll go to child class 1. So do you know why I'm getting an error at line 3 for child class 2? For child class 1 and child class 2? What the reason why I got error at line 3 in child class 1, at line 3 in child class 2? Why the child classes are
You need
getting an error now?
parameter class, parameter constructors.
Yes. So I have to define, look at this here. Okay, I have to define, look at this. Child class 1 extends what? Parent class. You know, in Java, before executing child class constructor, Java will first execute parent class constructor. Which constructor of the parent class the Java will execute? That is called no argument constructor. But in parent class, I don't have a no argument constructor. I have parameterized constructor is available. So if that is the case, from child class, we have to call the parent class constructor explicitly. Explicitly, you have to call parent class constructor from the child class constructor using super keyword. Using super keyword. So that's why we are getting error. Of course, I'll take variables now. Private int C1 child class 1. C1 and C2 are the variables here, okay? Next, define a constructor using fields. Now, 4 fields I'm going to get parent class fields and child class fields as parameters to my constructor, and automatically super keyword is used to make a call to the parent constructor with appropriate parameters. It's all shortcut, okay? Now you can see there are 4 parameters are included in the constructor. Out of 4, okay, using super, the parent constructor is called with the parameters P1 and P2, and C1 and C2 are the 2 parameters used for initializing the 2 fields, C1 and C2. Okay, right. Now, remaining all same. I can override the parent class method in child class. Let's say at override, I can write what method? Public void, okay, parent method. Means what? We are overriding the parent method in child class. I'll let SOP child class 1 colon parent method. So you can override You can call the parent class constructor. You can create variables. You can create methods. So there is no issue. The only thing whenever you're writing sealed class is what? Sealed class used to specify the its child classes. What are the child classes permitted for this parent class? So whenever you want at the time of writing a class, if you also want to define the permitted child classes of this class, then you are going to make that class as what? Sealed class. Apart from that permission list, if any other child class is created, that child class will get a compile time error. That's the purpose of sealed class, but more things we'll discuss now. Okay. Means we have a controlled way of creating parent class and its child classes. If I'm just like writing like a just normal class, then what happens now? Anybody can create child class. If you are a developer, we are all working in one team. Then what can you do if I'm creating one class? You can create one child class, other developer can create one more child class, other developer can create one more child class, right? So there is no controlled way of creating child classes. But at the time of creating my class, if I specify that only developer 1 and 2, they can create the child classes and where other developers are not allowed. So then I can specify the permitted child class list of developer 1 class and developer 2 class. That's what controlled way of creating child classes for a parent class. That is possible with the concept of sealed classes. So sealed classes is a way through which we can able to create the controlled way of creating the child classes for a parent class. Now, I want to go to guys, child class 2. Here also I can do the same thing. But I just want to tell you one thing. Instead of final, okay, I am writing non-sealed. What I am writing? Non-sealed. Okay, I'll take two variables, guys. C2. Already I took here C1, C2. I'll take C3, C4. Two variables, C3 and C4. Let's define the constructor. Okay, let's define the constructor using fields and call the superclass constructor. All these are common. Okay, but here I'm not overriding. I'm not overriding the parent class method. Just only constructor I'm defining. But you see, this child class 2, I made it as a what type of class here? Non-sealed. Okay, right? So when you are creating a child class for a sealed class, that child class must be declared as either non-sealed or final or sealed again. Now currently this is called what type of class now? Non-sealed class. If it is a non-sealed class, you cannot use permits keyword and you cannot say that child class 3. So we are getting error because you cannot use permits keyword because it is non-sealed class. Able to follow me? It is a non-sealed class. One more thing. If it is a non-sealed class, then we don't have any control on its subtypes. Am I right or not? Anybody can create a child class for it now. Now for this child class 2, can I create child class 3 extends child class 2? Yes. Child class 4 extends child class 2? Yes. No controlled way because it is declared as what? Non-sealed class. If it is declared as a final class, then you can't create a child class. Hierarchy will stop there. Hierarchy of the child classes will stop. The child class is final, correct? Because if a final class is there, final class cannot be extended. We can't extend a final class. But this is it a final class or non-sealed class? Non-sealed class. It is a non-sealed class. What does it mean now? It's a non-sealed class. What does it mean now? It can have multiple child classes also. And permission is not required. It is controlled way of creating child or uncontrolled way of creating the child. Uncontrolled way of creating child classes are possible. Let's see. For example, I'm creating. Look at this. I'm creating a new class here. Class name is child class 3. I repeat again. Child class 3. Child class 3. Extends child class 1 or child class 2. Better. Child class 3 extends what? Child class 2. But in child class 2 also I should define a constructor. I should define a constructor. Now this constructor should contain how many parameters now? To call the parent class constructor, how many parameters are needed? 4 parameters are needed. So in the child class, I'm creating a constructor with 4 parameters.
Find by after.
In this child class, I'm creating a constructor with the 4 parameters. All the 4 parameters I should provide to call the parent class constructor. By providing the required 4 parameters to the parent class constructor, I'm calling it using super. Now child class 3 is allowed, right? Extends what? Child class 2. Because child class 2 is not declared as a sealed, it is declared as non-sealed. Non-sealed. Its parent class is a sealed. Parent class is sealed class, but child class is non-sealed. Then we can create any child class for again child class. Now who's a child class here? Child class 2. For this I can also create what? Child class 3, child class 4, child class 5. Is there any restriction? No restriction. Anybody can create as a child class. Anybody can extend it and can make it like a child class of child class 2. So that's why I've written the child class 3 extends child class 2. Observe here. There is no controlled way, it is uncontrolled way.
In by after before.
Now, if I write final, now why are you getting an error at a child class 3? Why are you getting an error at child class 3? Yes, we are getting error because of child class 2 is declared as final. Final class cannot be extended and we cannot create a subclass or child class for a final class. So type child class 3 cannot subclass the final class. Who's the final class? Child class 2. Okay. I want to make it as sealed. If I use a sealed, then I must add permits. Permits what? Child class 3. Permits what? Child class 3. Permits child class 3. Okay, I'll maximize. Okay, child class 2 permits what? Child class 3. Then tell me, if child class 2 is permitting child class 3 as a subtype, again that subtype can be non-sealed or final or sealed. Now I should go to what? Child class 3 and there I should use one of the 3 keywords. So what are the one of the 3 keywords? Either final or non-sealed or sealed again. When should I use a sealed again? If I want to define a list of or a set of subtypes for child class 3, right? Okay. I don't want to define. I want to stop. So then I'm using which class now? Final. Final. Here I'm getting an error P1, P2, C3, C4 when extends child class 2. I have to close. I have not yet saved it. That's why we got error. Now there is no error, you can see. Okay. Right. Control S is missing. Good. Now understand here. Again, this class, I can make it as what, guys? Final or non-sealed or sealed. When should I use a sealed again? When should I make the child class as a sealed? Suppose again, you want create child classes of child class in a permitted controlled way. So then you can make it as what type of class? Sealed class, and you can specify what? You can specify the permitted set of child classes. That is what meaning of using sealed. Non-sealed means uncontrolled way. Final means child class cannot be extended, cannot be created. So what are the things that you have learned here? What is the purpose of sealed class? Sealed interface is also there. Sealed class is also there. Let me talk about interface next. Then we will create an example and then we will run. Then we'll go to the next feature. See here.
So in the real time, where you use actually? Can you give me real time scenario?
We'll discuss. Yeah. Now, first I want to create an interface here. I want to create one interface first. Okay. I want to create an interface here. Let's see. My interface name is in the same project, in the same package. I'm just creating an interface. Okay. Let's say, for example, I'm creating one interface. Let's consider some interface. Okay. Let's say, create a simple example, shape. I'm making it a sealed. It is sealed interface now, not a class. It is what now? Interface. Permits. Because whenever you use keyword called seal, you must also use what? Permits. Permits. Then I should specify the implementation classes. Okay. The implementation classes are circle and rectangle. Of course, circle and rectangle are not yet created. After creation, automatically the error will be gone. Okay, there is an interface called what? Shape. Okay. Let's say, for example, just declare one abstract method, get area or something like that. Okay. Look at this. So here is my interface now. What is the interface name? Shape. So what are the only two implementations allowed for shape? Circle and rectangle. Let's start creating a new class called circle, which implements a shape. I want to make it as final. Okay. Circle implements what? Shape. Similarly, the next one, let's create one more new class. That new class is rectangle. I want to make it as rectangle classes, sealed or whatever it is. Okay, let's make it as sealed, or let's make it as final. Oh, implements shape, right? Now this is my circle, this is my rectangle, and here I need to override that method, get area. Now this is interface, right? Shape is an interface. And for this interface, there are two classes we are providing as permitted implementation classes, circle and rectangle. Let's try to create a new class called as a triangle. Triangle. Add the interface name shape. Make it as final. Okay. So public final class triangle implement shape. I'll go to shape. I'll remove triangle from the list. This is automatically updated. I'm deleting it. Now only what are the permitted child classes of or implementation classes of shape? Circle and rectangle, but triangle is not permitted. Now when I go to triangle, and you guys can see we are getting an error here. Whenever triangle implements shape, we are getting an error over there, which means sealed classes can be created at the same time sealed interfaces can be created. For the purpose of creating a sealed class or sealed interface, at the time of creating a class or interface, we can able to specify what are the permitted subtypes for the class or what are the permitted subtypes for the interface. This is called controlled way of creating it. Okay. Observe here. Let's say, assume that there is an assumption. Let's start with that assumption. Let's start with an assumption. Okay, let's start with the assumption. Let's say, okay, in my application is meant for only processing 3 types of messages: text message, object message, or a map message. In my application is meant for only processing 3 types of messages. One is a text message, second is object message, and third one is a map message. Map message means an application can send data in key value pairs. By keeping that data in a map message object, then my application will process the data. Second one is object message, which means an application can send the data by serializing the object, and my application can deserialize it and can process the data. Or if directly text is sent like a string format, then my application will process it. Means what type of messages only my application has to process? If the data is sent in text format, or if the data is sent in a serialized format, or if the data is sent like a map, then only my application has to process it. If the data is sent in other message formats, then my application should not process it. There is no way to process that type of messages in my application. My application is meant for only processing the messages of type text, or the data is in serialized format. Otherwise, the data is in the form of key and value pairs. Good. Then in my entire project, I don't want to allow to create any another type of message class to format it or to process it. Otherwise, to process it, only what type of messages only my application has to process is text message, object message, or a map message. And in my application should not be allowed to process any other type of message, only 3 types. Then I will create one parent class with all the attributes commonly required for all types of messages, or if any common methods required, that common fields or the common behavior or common operations, I will write in a parent class. Let's say message class. Interface or class, I'm taking class, message class. Now for this message class, what are the only permitted subtypes? Text message, object message, and a map message. And my application should not process any other types. The only permitted subtypes are 3. Then in this case, I'm going to make my message class as what? Sealed class. And permits only what and what? Text message, comma, object message, comma, map message. This is the way of using the sealed classes from Java 17. So basically the purpose of sealed classes is what? Basically the purpose of sealed classes is what? The purpose of sealed classes is just subtypes must be created for a class, but in a controlled way. Everybody should not create a child class for my class. The child class must be created in a controlled way. A class only has to decide, okay, who can be the child class of me? Who should decide that? Parent class. Parent class only will decide who can be the child of me and who cannot. A controlled way of electing its childs. That is possible by using sealed classes. And whenever you make any class as a sealed, okay, when you make any class as a sealed, you must use other keyword called what? Permits. And permits is to define a set of the child classes, permitted set of child classes, or permitted classes that can implement the interface. That's the purpose of using permits. Next, the child class can be either non-sealed class or sealed class or final. Okay, let's consider. So first, everybody understand this example so that you will come to know where we can use it in the real time. Next. Let's say, for example, look at this. I will try to delete this. I'll add the statements, but before that. Example. Okay, example, I'm declaring, guys, this triangle class as non-sealed, or otherwise, let's say I will go to, I'll make it as final. I'll go to rectangle. I want to make it as non-sealed. Okay, right? Am I getting an error now? No, because child class can be sealed or non-sealed or final. I'm declaring it as what? Non-sealed. Now question, can I create another class called square by extending rectangle? Okay, I want to create one more new class, which is called what? Square. Extends rectangle. Can I able to create a class like this? Is it possible to do so? Yes. Are you getting an error now? Answer is no. So reason is what? What's the reason behind this? Because rectangle class is a non-sealed class. If a child class is declared as a non-sealed, then it can be further extended. Who can be further extended? Rectangle. In a controlled way or non-controlled way? Non-controlled way. Sealed means it can be further extended, but in a controlled way. Final means what? It cannot be extended. It cannot be extended. 3 things to understand here. Hope you guys are getting the point like what I'm trying to say. Am I clear with that? Yes? Good. Nice. I want to add some statements first. I would like to add some statements. See, what is the statement I want to add? We want to go with sealed classes is the first concept that we are going to learn in Java 17 features. Okay, sealed classes are created to define its child classes in a more controlled way. to define its child classes in a controlled way. Now, a sealed class can tell or can specify who can be its child class and who cannot. It can specify who can be its child class and who cannot. That can be specified by using what? Sealed classes. Are you able to follow me now? A sealed class can specify who can be its child class and who cannot. Hope you are getting this point, right? Next. Once again. I'll tell you. A sealed class can specify its subtypes with the permits keyword. With which keyword? Permits. With permits keyword. With the permits keyword. For example, I'm writing like this. What I'm writing? Public sealed parent permits child class 1, comma child class 2. And here you can define the required variables. You can define the constructors. You can define the methods. Everything can go here. Just like normal class only. Now, who are the permitted? Who are the permitted here? Who are the permitted? Child class 1, comma child class 2. Child class 1, comma child class 2. Okay. Next I'm writing. Public final class child class 1 extends parent class. Yeah, it is allowed. It has its own variables and methods. Don't worry. It has its own variables and methods. Constructors, variables, methods, everything can be defined, guys. You can able to do that. Okay. Methods, then close it. This is my child class 1. Let's consider I'm creating one more child class called public final class child class 2 extends parent class. Do you guys understood the concept now? How the sealed classes are working? Sealed classes only are there. Sealed interface are available, but you don't have any sealed methods or constructors like that. That's not possible. Sealed keyword can be used for only classes or interfaces. We can able to use it for creating only classes or interfaces, and we cannot use it for variables or not like a final keyword. Final keyword can be used for creating final variable, or even we can also use final keyword to define a final method. Final variables can be created, final methods can be created, but that sealed can be used only for creating a class or creating an interface. Now, actually, here, this is valid. This is also valid. But now I am creating one more class called public final class child class 3 extends parent class. Now this is going to give an error. This will give an error. So do you know why these are going to give an error? These are going to give an error because yes,
It's not permit.
it is not in the permissions list. In the permitted list, only child class 1 and 2 are available, but child class 3 is not there. That's why we are going to get error. Okay. Let's add the next statement. What's the point I told you so far? Look at this. My point is, okay, when you are creating child class for a sealed class, when you are creating a child class or subtype for a sealed class, child class for a sealed class, I must declare the child class as what? Either final or again sealed or non-sealed, right? So a child class of a sealed class must be declared as what and what? Okay, sealed or non-sealed or final. Now, did you understand? No? Once again, it can be declared as what or what? Sealed or non-sealed or final. It's mandatory.
If we don't specify this, by default, what that class is treated?
No, error. By default, error. By
Means
default is compile time error. It's
we
must.
must specify any of these three.
Must. Yeah.
Okay.
Must be. A child class of a sealed class must. That's what must be. Okay, it not should be. It is must be. Okay. Must be declared as sealed or non-sealed or could be final. Okay. So when should I make a child class of a sealed class as sealed again? When should I make a child class as sealed again? If again you want to define subtypes of the child class, permitted subtypes of the child class. Non-sealed means if you declare the child class as non-sealed, then
No subclasses.
then for this child class, further child class can be created in uncontrolled way. Am I right or not? Final means the class is finalized. It cannot be further extended. It cannot be further extended. Yes. So let us write the example code here. First, I want to write some statement here. What is the statement I want to write for you? The statement I want to write for you is okay. If you specify sealed for a child class, then it can be further extended, but in a controlled way. In a controlled way. What is the meaning of it? It means you have to use permits keyword to declare the child types. To declare what types? Child types. Child types. Let me write, for example, I'm writing like this. Example is what? Public sealed child class 1 extends parent class, permits child class 1 comma child class 1 2. Some names I'm writing, nothing to worry. Got it, na? So who can be the child classes of child class 1? Child class 1 1 or child class 1 2. Okay, these can be the child classes. Can I create a child class 1 3 extends to child class 1? I want to create child class 1 3 which extends what? Child class 1. Can I able to create like that? No, because in the
No.
permitted list only, which classes are available? In the
Child
permitted
class.
list only, which classes are available?
Child class 1
Only
1 and
child
child
class 1 is available, and also child class
1
1 2
2.
is available. Child class 1 is available, and child class 1 2 is available. Yes. Observe here. I'll tell you. Next point. If you specify non-sealed for a child class, if you specify non-sealed for a child class, then it can be further extended in uncontrolled way. In uncontrolled way. Understand the difference, okay, guys? So what does it mean, guys? It means any class can extend this child class. Uncontrolled way, any class can extend this child class. Just I'm writing example, public non-sealed, guys. The keyword is what? Non-sealed. Non-sealed, what is that? Child class 2. Extends parent class. So why are you not writing permits, and why are you not specifying the permitted subtypes?
Permit is
Because
not
permits is
allowed
not allowed for non-sealed class.
nor sealed.
Yeah, that's why we are not writing. Next one. If you specify final, obviously, for a child class, then it cannot be further extended. Directly, it is a finalized class. Finalized class means it cannot be further extended. So I can write public final class. Here class keyword is missing. Sealed after class keyword, non-sealed after class keyword, that is missing. Okay, public final class, let's say child class 2 extends parent class. Same class name I'm using like above one, but this time I'm using final. Okay, now this is for classes. Similarly, the same thing is applicable even for what? Interfaces. We can also specify that what? We can also specify that what? An interface can be sealed. Suppose if an interface is sealed, we can specify what? Permitted implementation classes. Okay, it could be used for both. What and what? For classes as well as for interfaces. Now, I just want to write something like this. Now, guys, I'm talking about my next point. What's the next point I'm trying to write to? Sealed interfaces. Like a sealed classes, we have another concept called what? Sealed interfaces. Let me write. So the point to write is we can also define a sealed interface. To create implementation classes in controlled way. In a controlled way. Okay. Directly I'm writing example, guys. Public, sealed. Is it a class on interface now? Interface. Let's say interface name is shape. Implements circle, comma, rectangle. Okay, you can write some variables method, that's not a problem. Just I'm writing like this. Okay, shape implement circle, comma, rectangle. What happens if I write, for example, public final class circle implements shape? Tell me, is it allowed or not allowed? Can I able to create a circle class like this by implementing shape interface? Okay,
Yes.
is this circle is allowed or not allowed?
Allowed.
Yes, it is allowed. It's valid because shape implements circle, comma, rectangle, which means circle and rectangle are the subtypes of shape. It's a controlled way. Okay. Now I want to write a class like this. Public class rectangle implements shape. Tell me, is it valid?
Yes, valid.
This is error. It's an error. So why it is an error?
Because there should
Because
Final.
already shape implements circle, comma, rectangle, right? So circle and rectangle are the subtypes of shape. It's a controlled way of creating the implementation classes for the
Final.
sealed interface called shape. So then
Final
why
is
I'm getting
missing.
an error when I'm writing this rectangle class?
Final is missing.
Exactly.
it should be
Final.
seen
Exactly.
also.
The answer is here. What is missing?
Final.
Whenever you write any class from sealed interface or sealed class, you must declare it as what? Either non-sealed or sealed or final. So currently you are not declaring it as a final or non-sealed or sealed. Then definitely what will we get? Error.
Error.
It is called compile time error.
Error.
So what should I specify here?
Final.
Either final or sealed or non-sealed. Any one
Non-sealed.
of the three. Then only it is correct. Now this is valid. Okay. Let me write the other class like this. The other class I'm writing public final class triangle implements shape. Can I? No. What will happen now?
Error.
It is going to give me compile time error. Why?
Because triangle.
Because it is
Triangle
not
is
in
wrong.
the subtypes list.
Yes.
Permitted subtypes list.
In this interface shape,
It is
implements
permits.
or permits is it?
It's permits.
Yes. It's permits.
It's permits. Okay. Interface shape permits what? Circle, comma. Means what are the only shapes permitted from this shape interface? Circle and rectangle. But a triangle is permitted or not permitted? Not permitted. So here the keyword is what here? Permits. Permits. Here the keyword is what? Implements. You are right. Am I clear with that? Now this concept name is called, what is it? Sealed classes. So we can create sealed classes as well as we can also create the sealed interfaces. Interfaces. We can create the sealed classes or we can able to create the sealed interfaces as well. Look at this. I'll remove all these child classes and parent class. Now I have shape, which is an interface, permits a circle, comma, rectangle. Okay, here I'm writing square. Square extends what? Rectangle. Rectangle is is it a final class or sealed or non-sealed? Non-sealed. If you are creating a child class from a non-sealed class, then that child class you no need to declare it as a final or non-sealed or sealed. Look at this. Rectangle is what type of class here? It is a non-sealed class. Rectangle is non-sealed class. When I'm creating a square extends rectangle, do I need to make it as sealed here or non-sealed here? No. When should I make it as a final or sealed or non-sealed? If that class is implementing a sealed interface or sealed class, then we should declare it as what? Either final or non-sealed or sealed. Correct? But what about square here? Square is extending rectangle. Square is extending what? Rectangle. Tell me, rectangle is what type of class? Means what? If I create any child class for a non-sealed class, do I need to make again that child class as non-sealed or not? No. No. Okay, let's do one thing. We can. There is something called non-sealed. What I'm getting? I'm getting an error at line number 3. At line 3, I'm getting what? Error. Because of which keyword? Non-sealed. If you create any further child class for a non-sealed class, you should not declare it as a non-sealed again. This is also very important for you. Okay? You guys got the point now? Okay. Understand the point clearly, right? Good. In shape, there is a method called get area. Okay. There is overridden method get area, circle, overridden method get area, square. Can I override get area method again here? That's one more question. All are normal Java questions only. My question is, can I override get area method again in this square? Yes. Look at this. Look at this. Who is a parent class of square? Rectangle. So go to rectangle. In a rectangle, already get area method is what? Overridden. Actually, get area is an abstract method of shape. And this abstract method is overridden in what? Rectangle. This abstract method is now overridden in a class called what? Rectangle. Am I right? It's overridden in a class called what? Rectangle. Now I am going to square. Again, here I am overriding the same method called get area. My question now, this get area method is now overriding the shape interface method or rectangle class method? Rectangle class method. Rectangle class is overriding the shape interface method. It is overriding the shape interface method. Good. So this other point, you guys need to understand it. That's a point. That's why I've opened this. Okay.
In
So
rectangle,
far,
it is compulsory to override, right?
mandatory.
Or in
Otherwise,
square, it is not mandatory.
Otherwise, you should declare it as abstract. See, suppose in this rectangle, I do not want to override this get area method. Look at this. Am I going to get an error or not?
Yes.
Yes, I'm getting error. So why I'm getting an error for rectangle?
Must
Because
be
this class implements shape
shaped.
interface. We know that if a class implements an interface, then definitely the class has to override.
Yes.
If suppose there is a class implements an interface, then the class has to override what?
Abstract method.
all the abstract methods of the interface.
Interface.
There is one abstract method. Who is that? Get area. What's the method? Get area.
area.
Is it overridden here? No. That's why I got error. What I want to do now? I don't want to override.
Abstract.
If I don't want to override, I can make my class as what? Abstract class. You know that already in Java. Okay. Suppose, okay, if you are creating a class, but it's not overriding all abstract methods of the parent. If a child class is not overriding all abstract methods of the parent class, you are going to declare that child class as what class? Abstract class. In OOPS, we learned all these things.
Yes. Now what will happen to the square now? We
Now
need
square
to,
will get error.
but we already mentioned over here get area, right? In square.
I have deleted that. Okay, I'll open that.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is my square. Okay. This is my, what's the method name? What's the class name? Square. I'll remove this. First, tell me why I'm getting an error in square now. Because square is a class, extends what?
Rectangle.
Rectangle.
It
Rectangle
is
is
abstract.
Abstract
an
methods.
abstract class. It has
We
how
need
many
to-
abstract methods? First of all, count.
1.
Count how many abstract methods are there in the rectangle class.
Only 1.
One abstract method. From where it is inherited?
Shape.
From shape. From shape interface it is inherited. What's the name? Get
Get.
area.
Get area.
Now the square class also need to override what? Get area method. Because abstract method now, it has to override. If the square class is not overriding it, then again I can declare the square class as
Compilation.
again abstract class. Suppose if I declare square also abstract, then there is no error. Okay. But if I want to make it as a concrete class, not abstract class, then
We need to implement.
we need to override. What we need to override? Get area method we need to override. Means can we make a sealed class or a non-sealed class as an abstract class or not? That's a question. Look at this rectangle. Tell me, is it a sealed class or non-sealed class?
Non-sealed.
class.
Non-sealed class. Can I make it as abstract?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Let's say, for example, I have a sealed class. Can I make an abstract class as a sealed class? Is my question. Then what answer do you say? What answer you say? For example, circle is there. Instead of final, I want to make it as what? Sealed. Permits. Okay, permits. Let's say, for example, triangle. Assume that. I do not want to override here, but I want to make it as what here, guys? Abstract. I'll go to a new class called triangle. I'll get a new class called triangle, which extends circle. Look at it is final. Okay, come to the point here, go to circle. Tell me this is declared as what type of class? Sealed class, but still we are declaring it as what? Abstract class. Means what? Abstract can be used with either sealed or can be used with non-sealed, but cannot be used with final. Abstract and final are rival keywords, opposite keywords. Abstract means what? The class is going to be next extended. Further child class is created. That is called what? Abstract. Final means what?
We cannot create.
Further cannot be extended. Further cannot be. Means if it is a final class, we cannot create a child class for it. If it is an abstract class, we can create. Able to follow me now? Right. So what and what combination is not allowed? Abstract and final combination not allowed. But what are allowed? Abstract sealed combination is allowed. Next,
Non-sealed.
abstract non-sealed combination allowed. But abstract final, that
Not
combination is
allowed.
not allowed. These are all discussion of one feature in Java 17. Okay, next. Further, I will explain. Further, I will explain. See here. Before we talk about pattern matchings in switch statement, let us first identify what is the meaning of enhanced switch statement. Then I'll talk about pattern matching in switch. That's another feature of Java 17. Okay. All right. Text blocks is another feature of Java 17. Okay. We will see that. Text blocks is very simple. Look at this. Simple question. Okay. Let's start creating one simple application like this. I'll come to the text block now. See, text block is a very simple one. Look at this. I just want to create one new some simple package, com example. Let's create one main class. Just main class. Okay. And let me write once. One class name, class name is story. And method is public, return type is a string, get story. Okay, I have a question. I would like to write a string of 4 lines and I want return each. So can you tell me how to return a 3 lines otherwise? How to return a string of 3 lines from this method? Return type is string, right? I just don't want to return like hello. I am not writing like this hello. My requirement is what? 3 lines of text I want written as a string. 3 lines string. Then tell me how do you write normally in Java?
Slash
Before
n
Java 17.
means
That's it. Okay, just I'm writing some story. Everybody get me point? Some story. But how many lines of story I want to write? 3 lines. For example,
Too many lines.
Stream API is an important feature of Java 8. It will simplify /n plus the processing of collections. Okay. So tell me why I'm using /n, why I'm using /n and why I'm using plus. This is totally called one line of string.
Yes.
I would like to concatenate with the second line of string by using plus operator. Plus is for concatenation of strings. And /n means what? New line character. Now totally it is going to be how many lines of string now? 3 lines. I would like to I would like to call this get story method, which returns me a string and I will display. I'll do one thing. I'll make this as a static method so that I no need to create object. I can directly call the method with the class name. So what's the class name here? Story. What's the method name? Get story. Story dot get story, which returns me string. Directly sys out also I can write. Or message equals to what I can write?
Story
Story
dot
dot
story.
get story. MSC. Run this. You can able to execute this, and you can see how many lines of output that we are able to see here. 3 lines of output, 3 lines of string.
Yes.
Yes. Good. So before 17, how we guys can able to generate a string with multiple lines? By
Same
using
method.
new line character. This is called escape sequence character, escape character, and also we are using concatenation with plus. Good. The same effect. Now we will see this. First, let me delete all these double quotes and new line characters and the plus. I can able to remove all these things, guys. I can able to remove this. Just what I will do. This is called one text block. This is called one text block. The text block we can define within three double quotes. No, it is not double quote. It is escaping. Let me do one thing. Double quote. No, that is not error. We should get with a simple, it's a very simple operation. The quotations I missed actually. Just a minute. Enclosing the text. Text blocks in Java 17 are a feature intended to simplify the handling of multi-line string literals. They are defined by enclosing text within 3 double quotes. I am also using 3 double quote marks. Oh, I also need to keep it within curly braces. That is missing out. That's what some character I missed out. That's what I need to think. Okay, triple quotes. Just a minute.
Sir, after the
Within
triple
cur-
quotes, you
within
press
cur-
enter key, sir. Press enter key, not in the same.
yeah, yes.
In between that, if you
That we need to write. There is
Okay.
something that is what I'm missing out. I should press enter, then I should write the statements. Then semicolon.
semicolons, yes.
That's it's working now. Thanks. So this is how it works. Now triple quotes. Okay, 3 double quotes. 3 double quotes started, 3 double quotes ended, and then we should specify the multiple lines here without using plus or without using /n. Nothing is required here. Directly we can able to write multiple lines of text here. Now let us print it. The same response we are going to get. Okay, this is called text block. This feature is called what block? Text block. This feature is called text block. Okay. Let me add this feature, which is called text block. A simple one. So here I just want to write the feature name called text block. And I'll write a point here. What's the point? Let's say, for example, our requirement is we wanted a text block, right? What so far we have discussed in the text block. Now, how do you return a multiple lines of string? Yes, normally we have to write our string within double quotes, and you have to use a new line character called /n. And suppose if you want to write it in multiple lines, then you have to concatenate by using plus. But now from Java 17, how can you return a multiple lines of string? Just by keeping in 3 double quotes. This is called what block? Text block. Let me write. So I can say it's a simple feature. So before Java 17, if you want to return a text block, with more than one line of text, then tell me what you guys need to do. Yeah, if you want to return a text block with more than one line of text, then you have to use
/n.
new line character and concatenation symbol. Example only. I'm writing example. Return something. Return, or you want to store in a string also, no problem. Return, then start the double quotes. Just I'm writing. This is line 1. /n. You can write in same line. Otherwise, if you want to write in separate lines, then what should I write? Plus. This is line 2. New line character. Plus this is line 3. This is line 3. That's it. Okay. This is from before Java 17. But from Java 17, yes. From Java 17 plus. From Java 17 plus, if you want to return a text block with more than one line of text, then you have to enclose. Yeah, then you have to enclose the text block within 3 double quotes. Within 3 double quotes. Example. So just I have created one class called story, and inside that I have created one method called get story, and there inside that get story I have written 3 lines of text. Then we have to enclose within 3 double quotes, and that's how it works. This is the end of the method get story. This is the end of the class get. Sorry, the class name is story. That's how it works. Okay, so hope I'm clear. It's already saved now. Yeah, am I clear now? Right. So these are the things that we have discussed for today. Okay, there are 2-3 features are there that I will tell you tomorrow. What are the 2-3 features I'll tell you tomorrow is, tomorrow, first we are going to see what is pattern matching in switch. Okay, then next we are going to understand about what is record class, that is also the other one, immutable class. How to create a record class, pattern matching with instance of operator. So we are going to work with this pattern matching with the switch. First, I'll tell you what is enhanced switch statement. So previously, if you said switch means what? We are going to write a colon, then break statement. We need to write multiple things, right? Okay, now switch is simplified. So we no need of writing colon, we no need of writing break. Break is also not required now. For each case, there is no need to define break. That is called enhanced switch. Okay, in place of colon and break, we use arrow symbol. What do we use? Arrow symbol. Arrow symbol. And we will discuss first of all what is that enhanced switch. Then pattern matching in switch. Then what is a record class? Actually, record class is a Java 16 feature. Java 16. But of course, I'm including in Java 17. But actually, it's Java 16 feature. But that is important feature. That's why I will explain as part of Java 17 only. Record class also important. Sealed classes, pattern matching in switch, enhanced switch, text block, record class. These are the new features, are important features that are in Java 17. So tomorrow I will explain the remaining features. I'll try to explain all the other features that are available in Java 17 tomorrow. Okay. Thank you.
Hi,
Okay, guys. We will
can
see.
you send yesterday's notes, sir? Thank you.
Sir, yesterday I did not join. Is it possible to get yesterday's class in YouTube?
Yeah, you will get in YouTube, I think.